was I was having the students have reading, writing, word work, letters and sounds, and listening centers. So they had these 5 centers that I'd set up. And then I would spend, every 5 days I had to spend an hour and a half, even though I've done this for several years, because I have to modify it every year for the group that's in front of me. I'd have to spend an hour and a half getting that new thing set up for each week. And then I have to spend time teaching every activity to make sure everyone knew how to do every activity, even though I used activities that were similar. And I was always trying to figure out which activity would be the right activity that would kind of like be multi-level enough. But they never were. And I was always left feeling, and then I'd have to, they were doing this work, and I felt I needed to check their work. So I'd have a bucket for them to put all their work in, so then I had to check all this work every day. And I'm like using them, I'm thinking, it must be me who's using all the paper, and that's why you're all getting yelled at. Because I'm going paper, paper, paper. And you know, and I'm thinking the whole time, is this meaningful? Am I actually addressing what my students need? And they always were children in the group who it was way too easy for, because I have kindergarten. Kindergarten has this range. I don't know if you all have this range. But I have this range. It's like really big. So, and then I have children who that no matter how I made it, they were like, what do I do with this? Couldn't figure out. You roll the dice and find that word. They didn't know the word. They weren't working on words. The program's moving along. They're not working on words they know. So it left me very frustrated. So I opened up the book, The Daily 5, and the first chapter was about just what I told you. That was the first chapter. Are you doing this? Yes, yes, I'm doing this. And it was very frustrating for me because I'm always having to come up with something new or try to modify something to make it right. And my co-teacher would tell you that I'm a very good modifier, but still, it wasn't quite what I wanted. So I started to do the Daily 5, and I'm going to share that success with you today. So before I go into that, I just want to back up a tad. Some of you know that every summer I go to a workshop for educational change. I'm a part of an organization called Reevaluation Counseling, and I go on a 5-day workshop, and I lead the teachers. So you all come with me, because you're my teachers. You know, you're very dear to me. And I get to lead teachers from around the country, and I always think about you, and I was thinking, now how do I bring this back to you? How do I bring back what I do with them to you? So we always spend the first day when we're together. Some of these people I've seen for years, I think 13 years, very close. And I've been leading them for, I think, 5 summers. So I put out my thinking. I look at what's going on in the world of education, and what do I see is happening to us as teachers, and what do I need to communicate to them? And so I want to communicate some of that to you. And you know that I think you're doing an incredible job. And you know that if you don't know, you should know, that I think you're doing a job that's really difficult and really important. And the level to which you do it is always the best that you can do. And I really appreciate your putting your best forward. And I'd like us to take, in co-counseling, what we do is we trade time, because we find that the best way for us to get our minds able to do what we want to do with our minds is to be listened to. When we are listened to well, then we are able to think well. So I want us to do what's called a mini session, and what I want you to do in the mini session is listen to each other. Just going to give you a minute each. I'm going to ask you to talk about your successes. You've had millions, many successes every day, so there's plenty to talk about. But I'm just going to give you a minute to do that. And the important thing to remember about the mini session is that what we say is confidential. Even though I'm bragging about myself, you don't get to brag about me for me without asking me. So you're welcome to brag about me, but you ask me first. But I'm going to brag about me, and you're going to brag about each other, and that's what you should be doing, because you do an amazing job. So you need a partner. I will hit the timer. I'll let you know when a minute's up. I'll ring my bell, give you a chance to finish, and then we'll let the other person go. So everybody got a partner?